Hello and welcome to our ongoing series of conversations with people who are helping us navigate the complex world of the automotive industry. Very fortunate today to catch up with J.D. Power's David Paris. He's the senior automotive analyst studying really the used car aspect of the automotive industry. David, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
So David, wanted to talk to you about some of the very interesting trends that are going on in the passenger vehicle market. A lot of the new research that's coming out of J.D. Power suggests that there's some very interesting dynamics. Perhaps tell us a little bit about some of the trends that are going on in that factor of the market.
Yeah, absolutely. On the used side of the market, we're actually seeing a trend right now where passenger cars of all sizes are outperforming CUVs and SUVs from a value standpoint. Prices are up this year, but they're up the most for passenger cars, which is kind of a little surprising considering that on the new side of the market, OEMs are really focusing on selling CUVs and SUVs and trucks.
And what do you think is driving that disconnect between the used car market, the demand that you're seeing there versus the supply that's coming out of the new car market?
Well, I think it has to do with, there is a portion of the population that doesn't want to own SUVs and CUVs. They actually do still enjoy having passenger cars.
And from a manufacturing perspective, why are you seeing the SUV and CUV segment of the market receive more attention in terms of manufacturing and delivering new vehicles?
They're a little bit more versatile vehicles, and I think that starting in the early 1990s, we've really seen this push towards SUVs and CUVs from a practicality standpoint, and OEMs have focus groups, and I think that a lot of the population is definitely shifting towards that, but there is still a good portion that does want passenger cars.
Very good. So then thinking about what this means down the value chain, if we look at the dealership communities, does this have a material impact on how they organize their operations? In other words, how they've run their new and used operations in years past, is that likely to change as a result of these new developments?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the new side, if they're making fewer passenger cars, there's going to be fewer passenger cars returning to the marketplace. So we're seeing a situation where the actual volume, wholesale volume at auction of CUVs and SUVs is about to surpass that of passenger cars. And if this trend keeps going on, which it is, we look at production forecasts and things like that, we're going to see fewer and fewer passenger cars. So the ones that are there, clean examples, the prices are going to be driven up just as supply and demand.
So in the used car environment, we can expect the passenger cars to hold their value more than traditionally we've seen?
I think so, yes. With fewer of them in the marketplace, the ones that are there are going to be holding their value better. And you have, manufacturers like Ford that have come out and said that they basically are intending on stopping production of passenger cars entirely in the coming years. So things like that are going to add to the issue that we're seeing here.
From a consumer perspective, what does that mean in terms of the lifetime ownership of their vehicles and how it is that they plan their lives going forward? I mean, should they be thinking about viewing their passenger vehicles as a stronger asset than perhaps they have in the past?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. So, moving forward, if you take good care of your vehicle, obviously, it's going to be worth more on the backside when you go to get rid of it. And if you're still interested in passenger cars, there's still going to be offerings for you out there. I'm not saying that they're going away entirely. It's just that the overall pool is definitely shrinking.
Looking at it from the financial perspective, and specifically I'm talking about banks and organizations, credit unions that provide financing for both new and used vehicles, is there any impact on that aspect of the market that we should understand?
Well, anytime that you have a segment or a particular model of vehicle that is performing better than others, there's less risk associated with loaning out on that vehicle. So, yeah, absolutely.
So, final question on the market dynamics that you've projected here. cost of fuel, new technologies that make vehicles more or less fuel efficient or just more enjoyable or safer to drive. How is that playing out in terms of the dynamics between passenger and SUVs and CUVs?
Well, we're definitely seeing this technology push across the board, but I think where you're really seeing the difference is the shift between mainstream and luxury segments. There used to be this fine, definitive line between what makes just a regular mainstream car and the content and what makes a luxury car and why you're willing to pay a premium for it. But now we're seeing all these great mainstream vehicles coming out that are really pushing the envelope there, that if you covered up the emblem, you wouldn't be able to differentiate between what brand it is.
So the difference between luxury and quote-unquote regular cars is less apparent.
Exactly.
From a safety perspective, are you seeing a dynamic there? Do people feel that they're safer in the bigger SUVs or even the CUVs versus passengers? Has that been a factor in some of these decision making?
I think that's definitely a perception that's been ongoing, but passenger cars are just as safe as their CUV and SUV counterparts.
Outstanding. Well, David, thank you so much for helping us understand this dynamic. It looks like people that have those passenger cars have an asset on their hands that are going to be worth more tomorrow than they expected it to be.
Absolutely. Thank you.